Welcome to the Conscious Business Spotlight from Nadi Marketing, where we introduce you to bold changemakers and passionate risk takers who see the world's problems as an opportunity to create solutions that benefit us all. My name is Erica Rodriguez, and today we're excited to be joined by Nina Stoller-Lindsey, a messaging and marketing strategist who helps mission-driven entrepreneurs craft industry-shifting brands, messages, and trend-proof marketing strategies. With her honors degree in English, background in journalism, and experience creating award-winning social content for big brands, she helps her clients find their voice, hone their message, and optimize their content for conversions so that they can increase sales and give back to humanity and the planet. Thank you for joining us, Nina.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Perfect. So let's get right into it. So, with your background, can you give us any advice on building a stress-free, which is probably the key term, stress-free, sustainable marketing strategy that doesn't become overwhelming?
Yeah, totally. So the way that I work with my clients, there are really three, we call it the magnetic marketing method. And there are really three key pieces that I believe all entrepreneurs need to focus on to make their marketing run smoothly and make content creation, kind of a fulfilling, enjoyable process that is, a chance not to just convert dream clients, but, also to develop and share your voice with confidence and be a thought leader. So the three key pieces of this are mastering your money making message, fueling a customized content funnel, and sharpening your content creation skills and habits. So I can tell you a little bit more about where each of these things come into play. But messaging is number one, right? I think a lot of times we feel a lot of stress because we don't know what to say. We're on email, we're on social media, we're doing podcast interviews, and we don't know what to say. We don't feel confident about what we're saying, or maybe we're talking about things, but we're not confident that those are the things that our dream clients need to hear from us. So this stage of the process, mastering your money making message, is really about getting inside the head of your ideal client, understanding what keeps them up at night, and being able to use language and craft content that makes them feel seen, makes them feel heard, makes them feel understood, and therefore makes them ready to pay more from you, right? So when you master your money making message, you're going to be able to convert those dream clients. You're going to be able to differentiate your offers and really stand out, in a sea of businesses that probably do the same thing, maybe just as well as you do, but you're going to be able to set yourself apart. So that's the foundational piece. And the reason that removes so much stress is because then when we're showing up in all these places, when we're building our funnel, right? When we're creating live workshops, when we're posting on social media, when we're doing our email newsletters, we don't have to reinvent the wheel over and over again with what we're talking about. We have that clear message. We know that we're excited about it. We know that it resonates with our ideal clients, and we know how to share it. And I think with the term funnel, like, we get freaked out sometimes. We think that, the bro marketers have told us you need like 18,000 steps in your funnel and it's going to make you $1 million overnight. And it just doesn't make sense and it feels overwhelming. It's really just a series of simple steps that help you turn strangers into clients or repeat clients in a way that, makes sense with your skill set, with your brain. So, I coach my clients to figure out the channels that really make sense for them based on their business goals, based on where their ideal clients are, and based on their skill set. And then, if you have a message and you have a funnel, a series of steps to take people through that message and help them through a supportive buying decision making process, then it comes down to really just developing the skills and habits to keep doing this over and over again, because marketing is forever, right? As long as you have a business, you are going to need to create content to promote it or pay someone else to do it, right? So much of the stress comes from this forever piece. But I find with my clients, when we just accept okay, content creation, creating marketing content is just something that I do every week, on and on, the same way that I brush my teeth, go to the gym, whatever. It can, you can find a way to make all of this work with your unique brain, with your energy, with your bandwidth, with your whole way of being. And it becomes just kind of this repeatable thing that hums along in the background of your business instead of it being this whole mind drama every time you have to market something.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think a lot of people get stressed out, like you said, with the funnel portion and how they think it has to be some sort of like software you need to buy. It could be a simple spreadsheet or anything that you're
Yeah,
just, like you said, just carrying them through those steps and you can
it's
set that up.
really just deciding which channels you're going to show up on and knowing what your ideal client needs to make a decision, right? So it's like maybe they first learn about you on social media, then you share a really cool free resource so they're on your email list, from your email list they come to a live workshop, then they see you live, they see your vibe, they decide to work with you, right? So it's it doesn't really require any software. It doesn't require a lot of technical setup. It's actually, you know, if you do it right, it's actually a lot about simplifying things instead of saying, oh my God, there's TikTok and there's LinkedIn and there's podcasting and there's this and there's that. And I have to do everything. It's saying, okay,
Right.
like which goals do you need? And, do you need to get in front of more people? Do you need to nurture more people? Do you need to convert more people? Like, what are you doing at every stage? And what can you do that's simple, right? If um, are speaking to other business owners and you're a really great writer, but you don't like making visuals, LinkedIn is going to make a lot of sense for you. And that's going to, focusing on that over TikTok is going to take a lot of stress out of the process. So just
And I
as an example.
also, yeah, and I also like to, like, you don't have to be everywhere. I think everyone, that's where the overwhelming part is. Like, they think
Absolutely.
you have to be everywhere and be active everywhere. And yes, you need to be consistent, but also I always recommend for my clients, pick 2 to 3 platforms where you feel
Yeah,
comfortable with and stay consistent on those. You don't have to
absolutely.
be everywhere.
I do not recommend being everywhere. That is a
Yeah,
really
no.
great way to put yourself into the ground. And, it's interesting because I work with I mentor solo entrepreneurs in their marketing, and I also consult for marketing teams at very large mission driven brands. And even for those marketing teams where they have staff that is dedicated full time to marketing, even they can't be on every single channel. And I know that because I used to be an in-house social media manager. So if they can't do it, there's no way that you can do it as a business owner. And, I with my clients, I always try to look at this as the lens of, marketing is going to be part of your job as an entrepreneur forever, but it is only part of your job, right? Like we need to leave time for the thing that you got into business to do. So, when I say funnel, it's really thinking about, you know, the stages of taking a stranger through awareness from how they become aware to how they become interested to how they become engaged and ultimately decide to work with you. And you need to have different channels. That's why you need social media and an email list, for example, but you don't really have to be in all the places. Less definitely can be more. And
Yeah.
that's kind of a big way to reduce stress is to really think critically about like which channels align with my business goals, but also with my skill set as a content creator, because some of us are really comfortable talking to camera, but we hate writing. Some of us love writing, but we hate graphic design. How can you use that to inform your marketing strategy? Because at the end of the day, you're the one doing it.
So we're kind of going right into the next question, which we've already kind of discussed some common mistakes, but what are some common mistakes you see mission-driven brands and solopreneurs make with their social media and marketing that undermine their ability to convert followers into customers or clients?
Yeah. I would say not being clear on your business goals or your marketing goals and how they ladder up to your business goals. So if your goal is to, and this is going to change, especially if you are a solopreneur. This is going to change for you at different points throughout the year, right? You're going to be in a launch where you're heavily marketing something, and you need to convert new clients, or you need to sell a product, and then that launch is going to be over, and you're going to have burned through a lot of your leads, and you're going to need to bring new people in. So just being very clear with yourself at every single moment in your business. What am I going for right now? Am I trying to bring new people into my world with my marketing? Am I trying to, new followers, new email subscribers? Am I trying to kind of educate my existing community on, the problems they might be having and what I offer, and why they might need support from me? Or am I talking to those people who are already pretty warmed up and really trying to drive sales right now? Like, they're ready to get support. So, and depending on those goals, you're going to want to focus on different channels. You're going to want to focus on different types of content, so in my sustainable social sales coaching program, for example, we spend a lot of time breaking down which types of visuals in your social media drive different business goals, right? Like a 7-second reel does something very different for your business than a 10-slide carousel that goes into depth about your offer then. So really being clear about, what am I trying to do right now in my business? Am I trying to bring in more people, engage more people, or convert more people? And what kind of messaging, what kind of CTAs, what kind of visuals, what kind of content plan do I need to make that happen? Because otherwise we can spend a lot of time creating really beautiful content that is driving a goal, but it's not necessarily our goal.
Yeah. So be clear on your goals from the very beginning and your messaging. And then you also mentioned so beyond just posting, let's say for social media, what other strategies would you recommend to build deeper connections and increase conversions through social media?
Yeah. So through social media specifically, if we're really talking about staying 100% in the platform, creating content, just what you do within a platform like Instagram or LinkedIn, creating content within the platform is only half the battle. We also need to think strategically about how we, certainly how we position ourselves in our profiles so people understand what we're doing and what we offer, but also, how we engage with people on these platforms, either people who are going to be, collaborators who are going to help us get in front of more potential clients, or people who are engaging with our content who might be potential clients. So, building relationships through the way that you message with people in the DMs, through the way that you, not just respond to comments coming in on your content, but proactively engage with other people who might be potential clients is really important. That's a big piece of conversion, but also thinking about, where people go after social media. Because, most of us do need to, from social media, get someone on a sales call, or get them onto our email list, or get them into a live event, right? So that's where we think about your funnel. And that's actually part of why, when I first started my business, as a former, social media strategist in corporate, I had felt so much social media stress, and I felt like every entrepreneur I knew was so stressed out about social media. And over time, I kind of realized the problem wasn't just social media, right? They were either struggling with their messaging, their social media wasn't converting because they were struggling with their messaging, because there was nowhere for people to go after social media. There was no funnel. There was no way for them to have, there was too big of a gap between Instagram post and high ticket offer, or, they needed to kind of sharpen the skill set to do this over and over again. So that's kind of why I developed that magnetic marketing method, where in social media is certainly part of it, but where we focus more holistically on your message, building a funnel, and sharpening your content creation skills and habits.
Yeah, no, certainly. You shared about working with your clients, so I'd like to know a little bit more about that. So how do you help your clients strike the right balance between salesy promotion content, so getting that messaging right, but not being so salesy, and storytelling, making sure that they're adding value, content to reach the right people
Yeah.
and marketing strategy.
So first, I want to dispel this idea that salesy content is bad, or that we have to be super careful about how much of it we do. And you can't only do that salesy content, but I think it gets a bad rap because we have a lot of fear of selling, which I totally understand. And sales content does not usually get very strong engagement. You won't get a lot of people liking and commenting on it, but it is important for the people who might be thinking about working with you to see, like, it is very, very valuable. Um, so I think it kind of goes back to, what I was saying before about knowing your goals in every moment, right? Because
Right.
there are going to be periods of your business where you are launching something and it's going to be all sales content all the time. But, after that, you're going to need to, your audience is going to be burnt out on them and you're going to need to give them something new to kind of refresh their interest in what you have to say and content that will potentially invite new people in. So, I think it's mostly about knowing, like, what am I trying to do in this moment? Instead of trying to make everybody happy all the time and sell to the people who are ready for an offer and engage the people who aren't, like, right now in this minute, kind of thinking through the cycles of your business and thinking, okay, like, this time period is when I'm selling, this time period is when I'm doing um more of that storytelling and educational content, maybe humorous content that's shareable, that's going to get shared and bring new people in. So yeah, really, really knowing your goals and knowing which piece of content to do when is a really good way to strike that balance.
Right. I know that when I am not in promotions or like as far as launching something, I remember just recently, like during the holidays, I just posted by myself, like being a solopreneur and just making fun of myself and entertaining people. That was like, here's me. What did I say? Holiday party of one over here, just like chilling. But I got so many likes, so many people messaged me on the DM, just like crying face laughing emoji, but then creating those organic conversations and getting to know them, and kind of warming up those leads. So of course, just mixing up all that content that you have, and not trying to make it, I would say, sales on sales or promotions after promotions. You got to have a right balance and a right mix into that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Okay, so now that we have, let's say, some really good, brilliant ideas into actual social media posts or emails, I would say it can be very challenging. And especially when we're brainstorming, one idea could be like you're thinking of a reel and it's going to be, you think it's going to go viral, but then actually executing it is a whole nother challenge. So how do you help clients streamline that idea to execution process? Do you use batch content, or kind of what strategies or tips can you give us there?
So I coach all my clients on developing. I mean, I have a specific creative process for idea generation that I teach. That's something that, I developed in my corporate career when I had to create 150 pieces of content every month. And felt like I was going to jump out the window. And, this was kind of a reliable, repeatable process I developed for myself, as a corporate social media and content strategist, to, like, be able to enjoy content creation and to be able to, do this without jumping out the window. And this process helped me at the brand I was working for at the time, helped us triple our content output, double our reach, and really engage not just more people, but the right audience specifically. So that's the process that I use in my own business and that I teach all of my clients and that I teach in my quarterly Crush Your Content Calendar intensives. Um, I also, really coach all of my clients on developing what I call personalized content creation ritual, because I think that what you as a human and an entrepreneur need to be your most creative, to come up with your best ideas, and to actually turn those ideas into a written email, into a reel that you film. What you need to do that is very different from what I need.
Right.
So I kind of have a process that I walk people through that's a combination of inspiration from the world's greatest writers and, some actually science studies on personal biology and how your energy ebbs and flows, and some other, we do the four tendencies framework by Gretchen Rubin, who's a happiness researcher. And it's basically like, it's a lot of self-knowledge and kind of understanding, um, how you work. And I think, if you're sort of like, I don't even know where to start with that, I give kind of a window. I'm going to be hosting soon and it will be available for replay. The folks listening to this later, my Lazy Content Creator Masterclass, which is all about how to create high converting content even when you're burnt out and bored. So we do sort of start to walk you through, how do you get to know yourself and your tendencies so that you can, stop waiting for inspiration to strike, and you can reliably create content in a way that kind of works for your brain. So I realized that, wasn't a super specific answer of, follow XYZ steps and it'll happen,
Right.
but that's for a reason, because, I've coached, dozens of clients on crafting their personalized content creation ritual that allows them to turn out content over and over again in a sort of calm, enjoyable way. And it's totally different for all of them. So, it comes down to kind of, getting some guidance from maybe a pro on different strategies that kind of work overall, but really understanding, what is going to work for your brain and your energy levels.
Yeah, because you said everyone is different. And I'm guessing how they create content could also, be different, or a different process works for them depending on their, like you said before, if they like to write or if they like to read or if they like just to talk, they could be in podcasts and doing content that way. I guess one thing that would align all of them would be like also asking your audience for suggestions, right? Or what they actually would want to see.
In terms of coming up with content ideas?
Right.
Yes, I definitely think, sort of ongoing market research, whether you're actually, interviewing people and, doing things like a voice of customer survey to understand the language your ideal clients are using, or even just informally, like thinking about what people are asking you in comments or DMs or replies to your email newsletter, thinking about what clients are asking you in sessions, throwing up an Instagram poll saying, do you need help with A, B, or C? Definitely asking your audience is a really good way to come up with new content ideas, for sure.
And you can always, like you said, you can always get that continuous market research. It doesn't have to be like a survey. It can be a survey, like a formal survey, but you can always ask them
Market research is one of those where it's like funnels, where it sounds like super formal and scary, and like you're going to have to hire some $1 million research firm to come in and do it for you. And it can be that way, but it doesn't have to be. Like, it really can be as simple as just like going through your notes from past client sessions, or thinking about your sales calls and thinking about like, what is the struggle that I'm hearing on every single sales call with a new client, and how can I speak to that in my content?
Right. So you can get it one-on-one with your consultation calls. If you have coffee chats, you can ask them with your target audience. You can ask them on social media, like you said, with the polls or the stickers that are wonderful. I love throwing those out too.
I would say, even before you go out, depending on how much time you have before you go out and like ask more questions and bring more information in, like think about what you already have. Like think about the questions that you've already, or comments you've already gotten in DMs, the things that, if you have notes from past sales calls, can you look back at those? Can you look at client session notes? Like that's definitely going to save you some time in that process. And then if you start with what you already have, you'll start to see trends, and that will better inform the questions that you can go out and ask people.
Yeah, perfect. One thing that aligned Nina and I were basically a very similar target audience. So like with mission driven brands. So I wanted to ask this question for them, which is a lot of them, they aim to raise awareness around their social issues or around, the environment and what's going on there, through their marketing. So can you give us just any advice for them? Like, how do they incorporate their awareness piece authentically, while still focusing on that core business goals? Because I remember someone told me it's like, yes, you're in the business, to make an impact, but you got to make money to create a bigger
Sure.
impact. So
Yeah.
any advice there?
So I think it really comes down to, and I would say this is true of, whether you are a large brand or you're a solo entrepreneur, understanding that there are a million and one valid social issues in the world that deserve our time, money, and attention. And understanding that as one brand or one business, you cannot meaningfully, create change or speak to probably maybe, one, maybe more than one, maybe two of these issues. So, some people kind of have this naturally baked into their business, right? Like, I think about one of my clients who is a holistic therapist and life coach who helps women of color overcome generational trauma. So, like, she's speaking to social impact like automatically just through
Right.
what she's doing. Some people are sort of like, there isn't something, a social cause baked into my business, but I want to promote good in the world. And I think if that's the case, you kind of need to think about, you know, what really matters to me? Like, what am I excited to use my voice on? Where do I feel like, I have an opinion, I have a strong feeling, like I can really speak to this issue in my content ongoingly, and what is also really important to my audience, to my
Mm-hmm.
ideal client, the audience that I'm building, right? Like, if you can see that kind of Venn diagram of like social cause, social issue that's important to me, and social cause, social issue that relates to my business in some way and is going to be important to the people I work with. And I'll give you an example. So I have another client who is the founder of a virtual Pilates studio, right? So you might think, unlike the therapist that I just talked about, there isn't like a, social cause kind of inherently baked into her teaching Pilates. But, there were a lot of different causes that she cared about. And we kind of talked about which she was going to, use her platform to speak to. Um, and, she'd always been very body positive and about, helping her clients, most of whom were women, feel more at home and more in control of their bodies, strong and able to do whatever they wanted at whatever age. And, then when Roe v. Wade was reversed, and she found herself having a very strong reaction to this and her community having a very strong reaction to this, that sort of became apparent to her. She was, reproductive rights is really like, that is the issue that I want to pursue in my content and in my marketing. And it made so much sense because, she said, my whole business is about helping women feel in control of their bodies. And
Yep.
that's what this, whole, or women and, people with uteruses, um, people who can get pregnant. That's what this whole issue is about. And, she went from being really kind of afraid to use her platform to speak to social issues to, in June, I'm losing track of years now,
Yeah.
2022, and
Right.
this is all going on. She created this basically social media, email, and virtual event campaign, where she invited different fitness instructors to basically create a class where you could come like sweat out your rage about Roe, and it
Mhm.
was donation based, and she donated all the money to abortion funds. So she raised $1,000, and she got a lot of new leads in the process because people were like, wow, I really, her name is the Pilates Party, we'll put that in the notes, you can check it
Yeah.
out. But she had this event called Sweat with Purpose, and people, I think, sort of were like, this is what I need in this moment. And like, this really aligns with my values. So those things, go hand in hand.
Yeah, that's a great example of having a fitness company, a virtual fitness company, and finding something that you're passionate about, and really listening to your audience as well and what they need and services that they need for it to be a community.
Definitely. And it's interesting because I feel like some people say to me, well, you work with mission-driven entrepreneurs. I don't know if I'd really say I'm mission-driven. And, it's sort of like, you may not have a social cause that's, a business that's about social impact, but do you want to use your platform to speak to an issue you care about? Do you want to create a more inclusive brand? Those are kind of all things that we can do in our marketing that are creating positive change, even if you don't see yourself as an activist or social impact based entrepreneur.
Yeah, thank you for saying that too. Nina, that was amazing. We're already at time. I guess the last question too is, how can people reach out and connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. Those are great places to check me out, stay in touch, get more perspectives and advice on mastering your money making message and creating a trend proof marketing strategy that converts your dream clients and doesn't burn you out. And then a really great way to get a taste of how to create that stress-free marketing strategy would be my lazy content creator masterclass, which I am about to do live, but the recording kind of lives on forever. It's been really my most popular masterclass, and an evergreen recorded masterclass, and that is the lazy content creator, all about how to create high converting content even when you're burnt out and bored. So within that, we basically talk about what high converting content actually is and how it can make your marketing more effective, efficient, and fun. We talk about the 4 things that you need to create that high converting content on repeat. So you can just kind of do it over and over again in your sleep almost, reclaim your time and energy in the process, and basically how to also create content that you are, reliably create content you're proud to share, without sitting around and waiting for inspiration to strike, because that can be a very frustrating, draining process.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that is a great way to find out more and learn from me and get some ideas on how to do all this.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Nina, and sharing your insights. Also for our viewers, be sure to check out the links in the description below to connect with Nina and learn about her mastermind and the sustainable marketing strategies. And that's all for this episode of the Conscious Business Spotlight. Stay tuned for more inspiring stories and actionable advice from bold entrepreneurs creating a positive impact. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Erica.